This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
Yes, we are live in the heart of Sharjah on Pulse 95 Radio. Welcome to the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Hope you're having a blessed day wherever you're tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, pulse95radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or even if you're watching us live on YouTube. Thank you very much for connecting with me today. Got a wicked guest for you. I've actually known him for a while. I'm trying to pick my brain to see how long I've known him for, but I've seen some fantastic work from this guy here in the studio. Sean Clancy's in the building from the KO8 family and the academy. And not only am I picking his brain on fitness, I'm picking on his brain because he's an entrepreneur as well. So that side of the game is truly unique to the Halftime Show, which will be picking his brain, how the KO8 started, functional movement, fitness, and all sorts on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. And if you were wondering when you can catch that time, the Halftime Show is on every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 to 4. If you miss the shows, don't worry, you can catch them on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, or Origami, or even head over to the YouTube and catch all of our episodes with the fantastic guests, like my man Sean, who you're going to see right now on the Halftime Show. Sean, how are you doing, my man?
How's it going? All good. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me over.
Thank you so much. And I was thinking about this, Sean, earlier. How long have we known each other?
I believe it was 2016
Wow,
when we first met. Yeah, I think it was because you come and spend a day with us, right, at Warehouse Gym.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 2016 for sure.
Okay.
For sure, because back then I was still living in the UK.
Right.
I hadn't moved over yet to the UAE, so yeah, that's when it must have been.
Yeah, and you do a lot of great things, not only being a coach, but being a coach's coach, a master trainer, someone that educates, and I love the word education when it comes to your content as well. And you've also got that entrepreneur side as well for you with KO8. Now, for those that don't know about KO8, tell us a little bit more about KO8, how it started, and what is KO8?
So, KO8 it's a lot of different things today. It's evolved for sure, but all the credit has to go to my partner and good long-time friend, Kieran Owens. He and I went to school together.
Right.
And we went right through high school together, played football in the same teams, etc. And then after school finished, he went over to Spain, became a personal trainer, and he used to run a really cool retreat with his family. I went off in a separate direction and pursued my professional football career. And then we kind of lost touch a little bit, and then further down the line, we kind of rekindled that relationship, and Kieran showed me what he'd developed, and the KO8 was something that was born out of pure necessity. So it's an actual training system. It's a portable and versatile piece of kit that you can take with you anywhere to use for your own personal exercise. So he created it, and as I say, when we got back together, there was an opportunity for us to go into business together and to really try and grow this thing. So so yeah, that's the outset.
Fantastic. Couple of things you said there. Professional football. You played for Fleetwood, is that right?
Yeah, I played for many clubs, to be honest. Going through school, I started at Everton.
Okay.
Then got signed by Liverpool. Spent a number of years at Liverpool.
Oof, okay.
And then, as I got older, played for another couple of league clubs, Blackpool. Ended up at Fleetwood, which, of course, was lucky enough to be teammates with Jamie Vardy.
That's what I was going to get to. Okay. What was he like at Fleetwood?
Very interesting, to be honest. Very interesting guy. I remember the first day he came in. He was signed. Obviously, his reputation had preceded him as a prolific goal scorer. Yeah. But we didn't know much about him because he obviously played in a division at the time which was lower than us. And he came in with it was just a ball of energy, lots of energy, and he's a really, really good guy, and he just slotted in really well with the team, and then obviously he drove us to winning the championship that year. So we got promoted, we were the champions, and we had a fantastic season together. So
and
awesome.
What position did you play when he was playing up front?
So I was playing on the wing, on the left side. So I was a wide player, and Jamie was playing either spearhead in the attack, or he would play on the right side. He could probably play anywhere. He's just a very gifted, as we can all see now, very gifted player.
Yeah, fantastic. We definitely have to play a game together. I've heard you're a really good footballer, so
I don't know anymore. I think I've lost it a little bit.
I doubt it. Look in better shape now than you are playing football.
Probably.
Now, talk to me about functional training and how you relate, and you and Kieran relate, the KO8 to functional training in sports.
So, to be honest, I think while we're on there, functional training, that's a term that can often be misrepresented or misused in the fitness industry, especially. You know, a lot of coaches, they think that for something to be functional, you have to be doing something very crazy, Instagram-worthy, very eye-catching, and it's not always the case. You know, the term functional, by definition, is that it has a purpose. So, you know, some coaches would argue sitting down in a leg extension is not functional because you're sitting. It's not a real life situation. But doing that kind of exercise, it's functional. If you're rehabilitating your knee after a post-injury, you know, it has a purpose.
Yes.
So any training that has a goal and a purpose is functional.
Brilliant.
So it's something, as I say, it gets thrown around a little bit and misunderstood.
Yeah.
You know, people seem to think that you have to be hitting a sledgehammer against a tire and then doing 10 burpees because it's functional. It's but that's not always the case.
Absolutely.
Most people that come into KO8, you know, those type of people, it's probably unsafe to have them wielding a sledgehammer, hitting a tire and then hitting burpees, because general population, they're just not ready for that intensity or that kind of exercise anyway.
Yeah.
But unless your full-time job is to chop wood, you're a wood chopper, then do we have to be wielding a big sledgehammer overhead? You know, is it worth the risk? What is the risk, you know, versus reward when you program and exercise? So we do a lot of things where we can, going back to your question, we can relate it to sport or everyday life. Because if you're lucky enough to work with athletes, professional athletes, that's fantastic, and you would gear the program towards their performance for whatever sport that they play. But that's a very small percentage of coaches that, you know, like yourself, you'll know, you work with athletes, and it's but the general population, they're not athletes. So we try to educate them in terms of how they can train to get them to perform better at life, everyday life, picking up the kids, taking the shopping out of the car, lifting things overhead, being strong and being robust, so that it prevents injury and it gives them a long, sustainable, healthy body. That's the thing.
See, a couple of things I picked up on what you said there. One thing, education, first and foremost. Second thing, safety. And then the third thing, not getting caught up with what everyone's doing on social media or in the fitness industry as it evolves. Apparently, people feel they have to do something, you know, expansive, something, you know, out there just to be able to fit in. Or
to get clicks and views.
Absolutely.
It's clickbait exercises.
Yeah, but that's what I love about the product and the methodology behind it. Can you tell me a little bit more about, you know, the philosophy behind KO8?
So the philosophy around KO8 is basically to break down barriers in training. And there is a lot of barriers for people and a lot of excuses why they shouldn't train or it's too difficult to train. And at KO8, we try and break them down. Like I say, the equipment itself, so the KO8, is something that you can use anywhere. You can use it at home. You could take it to the gym. You could take it to the park. You could take it to the beach. You can travel with it. It can literally take away any barriers in terms of inconvenience, traveling to the gym, not having time, not having money to pay for a membership. All of these things can be taken out of the equation. So our methodology is, and our company mantra and slogan is, we train where we want, and we push that, and it seems to translate pretty well, because with a KO8 you can choose any environment and you can make your own favourite personal set of circumstances your training environment. So
it'll make a good stadium chant as well.
yeah.
All right, guys,
Sure,
we're going to be right back with Sean Clancy from KO8 on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
This is the halftime show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the halftime show with Omar Al-Duri. Thank you very much for connecting with us today. What a show we have in store. I was actually picking Sean's brain during the break in the commercials about Jamie Vardy. Sean, you were saying something that was quite interesting. You were saying that he was quite a savage. Sometimes not having fear or not showing respect to your opponent during the game can really be a benefit to the player's ability, huh?
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that, like I was saying, it was definitely oozing out of him. But then he was spreading that confidence in the dressing room.
Yeah.
He did not care who he played against. When we would draw a team much higher division than us in the cups, he would be so relaxed, so self-confident, didn't care if the guy was fast, strong, had a reputation for being a top-class player. He would just swear that he was going to smash that guy and give him a hard time. So it was funny. It was good to watch. But yeah, definitely.
Is he one of the best players you've played with?
Yeah, for sure.
Anyone? Can you think of anyone better?
I've played with some really high-level players. Played with Pogba when he was younger at Man United. He was quality, obviously. Vardy's obviously, got to the highest of the high.
Yeah.
Scoring for England, international player, top goal scorer in the Premier League. It's crazy. But and most recently, actually, in Dubai, which is one of the things I love about living in Dubai. You stumble across some very strange and surreal experiences. So my last 2 games of football, so the last 2 times I've put my football boots on, I've played with Ashley Cole and Joe Cole.
Okay, I saw that post.
Yeah, and then the time before that was with Wayne Rooney.
Oh, okay. Has he still got it?
Oh my God.
He's
without
good,
a doubt.
He's great,
Without a doubt, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Shout out to everyone who's tuned in on the Instagram live. Marium, Stafa, Sati, Saif, Ruda, Mona, and everyone else. Now, a question came in for you earlier. What's the difference between the TRX and the KO8?
Well, there's a big difference, and to be honest, a TRX or any other suspension trainer for that matter, Olympic rings or one of the other versions, a suspension trainer is something that you use your own body weight and gravity to dictate the level of intensity or the level of resistance. So you're typically pulling your body weight up, or you're using it for assistance and stability. So that's just one part of the KO8. The KO8 can do everything that a TRX does, plus a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more to it. So we find that with suspension trainers, movements are very up, down, in and out, very linear, which is great, and it's used a lot in terms of functional strength and the movement patterns that we would typically do, but it lacks that rotation and that transverse plane, so the ability to rotate. So if you're playing sport, it's very difficult to name a lot of sports that don't require rotational coordination, strength, tennis, football, golf, rugby, you name it, martial arts. You've got to be able to own that transverse plane and be able to rotate. With the KO8 and the resistance bands, you can open up that capability and really train like an athlete that way.
I'm so glad you brought up planes. We haven't really spoken with the guests about planes as much when it comes down to frontal, when it comes down to, sagittal, when it comes down to transverse. Can you tell us a little bit about the different planes and how beneficial they are to the body?
Yeah, so it's like what we do at KO8. So we train 4 fundamental movements. We don't train muscle groups. We train movement patterns. So we don't have chest and tricep day. We don't have back and bicep day. It's about push, it's about pull, it's about hinge, squat, lunge, rotation, anti-rotation. And these movement patterns are what human beings do, both in sport and in everyday life. So that's what we try to gear our members to do, or our KO8 users to do, is to become strong in all of these movement patterns, because that will be the key to unlocking a strong and a robust body. And all of those movement patterns as well, they're underpinned by mobility. So mobility is almost like another buzzword at the moment in fitness. Mobility this, mobility that, and it's super important, don't get me wrong. And mobility is the actual thing that will help your performance in a squat in a overhead press, in any of these movement patterns that I just mentioned before, if you lack mobility, then you will struggle. And unfortunately, you know, us as adults, we lose mobility because of chairs, things like that, postures. When we're children, like I'm a parent, I've got a 5-year-old son, and he can move around as free as, you know, Mowgli from the Jungle Book. But as soon as we start to sit in desks and we go through school and high school, we lose that mobility, unfortunately. And moving into adulthood is even worse, you know. I try and get some of our members into certain positions, and they come out of it with oohs and ahs and clicks and crunks. And the good news about this is we can reclaim this mobility if we put the time in and practice. So it's that is the good news. You can do things that can help your body feel like you're reversing time almost. You can make your body feel younger with mobility training. So that's a huge part of what we do at KO8.
I was taking a look at some of the stuff you guys do. Obviously, I did the course with you back in 2016, I think it was.
Yeah, it's evolved a lot since then.
We had
our training wheels on then.
And then I looked at the schedule that you guys had. I obviously picked boxing because I love boxing. That is kind of something I've always loved. But I was really intrigued by all the different classes and all the different things you guys do in terms of prevention, in terms of strength work, but not strength work like we said earlier about picking a muscle group, but mainly for the idea of the overall, you know, well-being of someone. And that's something you guys really specialize in.
100%. We were lucky enough to open our own facility, KO8 Dubai, and it's in Dubai Marina. And when Kieran and I had a fantasy many years ago of if we had our own gym, you know, in the fitness industry, it's almost like the pinnacle of your existence to have your own gym. And we always used to, you know, discuss what would we do differently, what would we like to offer. And it very much was a case of giving people what they need for a well-rounded and a fully kind of bookended training system. Because if you do HIIT every single day, that's detrimental to your progress. If you just did strength every day, it's going to have some benefits but some drawbacks. If you're just doing yoga every day, again, you'll have some benefits but you'll also have some drawbacks. So what we do at KO8 Dubai is we plan the week so that any individual can get their strength, can get their metabolic cardio in, can get their yoga and meditation and mindfulness in. We actually created a really cool concept of KO8 Clarity, which involves mobility, flexibility, meditation, breath work, and it's giving the body what it needs. If you trash your body every day, it's no good. It's absolutely the wrong way to think about training. You don't need to slog your body every day. You need to understand your body and give it what it needs. Give your body what it needs on any specific given day. You have to cause stress, otherwise there's no adaptation. Without adaptation, there's no progress. So you have to stress the body, but then you have to let the body recover also. Otherwise, your progression and speed of progression is going to be affected.
Sounds like a perfect way to reset. All right, folks, we'll be right back after the break. I'm going to play you some Burna Boy. Enjoy this. Let it reset, let it settle, and I'll be right back after this. Peace.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Salam and welcome back to the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. Thank you very much for tuning in and connecting with me today. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. And if you've just walked in like Kulthum really late, probably about 36 minutes late, I just called you out on radio. Don't worry, you can catch the shows on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Anghami, and Spotify as well. Or if you prefer a visual, later on, Super Mario and Gabby end up putting the shows and all the episodes on the Pulse 95 Radio YouTube. I've never heard you. What's Mariam says? I've never heard you should stress the body, then let it recover. Absolutely, Mariam, and that's why we bring these guys on. Okay, now a lot of the times, Sean, people talk about hacks. They talk about training hacks. They talk about mind hacks. When I pick your brain on these things, we haven't rehearsed this, by the way. We're going to go off the top. What kind of training hacks do you do? Because I know everyone is different in the way they react and respond. What kind of training hacks do you do that you recommend for others?
For me, really, it's about time's an issue for me. Having a family, running a business, there's a lot of time constraints. However, I'm the first person to preach to our members, you have an hour to give to yourself. Don't give me that. So I have to almost, live by my own words with this. So if I am short on time, it's about getting the most bang for my buck. How can I give myself an intensity so that I can be efficient with time? I don't like to be in the gym for 2 hours, or who has that time to sit in the gym for 2 hours and work a bit, rest a bit. So I my kind of hack would be to get my cardio in at the same time as as I'm going back to stressing the muscles. So cardio doesn't just mean treadmill, cycling. Cardio just means getting a cardio response. So that can be from lifting weights, that can be from swinging kettlebells, it can be from doing KO8. So I try to keep myself on the move and just self-regulate how much rest I take. And if I can move from one exercise to a different exercise, then I can almost let those areas of the body recover from fatigue whilst keeping myself moving. So I almost don't take much rest when I train, and that's how I can be in and out in 35 40 minutes tops. Really, that's what I tend to do. Try and be as efficient as possible.
How do you reset?
How do I reset? I think for me, reset is about taking a little bit of time away from the stresses of your obligations, your responsibilities, your targets at work or whatever that may be. So I think it's important to always try and stay in that kind of lane where you can take that time for yourself, because everybody performs better when they're in a right mental state. If you're too stressed, if you've got too much to do, you're almost doing less, because the anxiety of having too much to do can really affect your productivity. So sometimes in a selfish way, you've got to take that hour to put yourself on that good vibe and give yourself the good feelings of happiness, and that might be to take an hour to go, take a steam room, go play tennis with your friends or whatever it is. But
or spend time with your 5-year-old.
Spend time with your kids, yeah. Of course, it can be anything. I'm fortunate enough because he finishes school and comes to the gym, so I'm fortunate enough to see him during the day. He's into the martial arts now and things like that, which is good, because when I was a kid I only played football. It's the only thing I did, one sport, nothing else. And I think that's not necessarily the way I would do it as a parent. I'm trying to get him well versed in a number of different things. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Is it true? I haven't had the honor of having my own kid yet, but is it true that you rewrite your wrongs in your kids?
I think so, to an extent. Yeah. Live your life through your child. The life you wanted.
You played for Everton, Liverpool, and Fleetwood, so he's got big boots to fill.
Yeah, that's it. He's playing with Manchester City at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
He's in the academy.
Nice.
But like I said, I don't want his body and his kind of movement to be so specific to one sport.
Yeah.
So he's doing football, but he's also doing kickboxing, and which is
Nice.
great for mobility. They say, as if you've got kids, putting them in gymnastics and martial art, that is one of the things that will help them keep their mobility through their teens and into adult life. So even if they don't compete to any kind of level, it's great to have the tools and have your body have those benefits of things like gymnastics or martial arts.
And a lot of the time, people talk about physical training, physical fitness. What about mental fitness? When it comes down to the mental side of the game, and now more and more people are able to discuss and talk about mental health, what kind of things do you do to kind of get that nice balance when it comes down to mental fitness?
I think mental fitness is about, it's just as important. It's if not more important. You can have one of the most gifted and talented athletes, but if their mental is not in check, they underperform. You see it all the time. Big athletes, they get paid a lot of money, or they move teams with huge transfer fees, and the pressure and the anxiety of underperforming makes them look like they shouldn't be in that arena. And it's crazy, because they've obviously got the tools and the attributes to get there, otherwise they wouldn't have commanded such a high transfer fee. But you see it all the time, and it is just down to a mental state, to mental confidence. For me, it's about, again, trying to stay as prepared as I can, which is sometimes a task for me, I'll be honest. But I know that if I've got the right amount of sleep, I'm focusing on things like how often I eat, when I eat, how much water I'm drinking. I know that if I suffer or if I don't get things in line, I know I'm going to have to push a little bit harder. And when you're doing a lot of things every day, if your body and your mind is not ready for the task in hand, you can suffer. So for me, it's about like
planning.
Yeah, being as organised as you can. Having a goal. I think having a goal is very important, because when you don't have them, you almost get lost on what you're trying to achieve. When you have a goal that's very clear, it's so powerful, because you know what you're striving for.
Yeah. And
there's been times, like in the last year, where I've said to my partner, we're working every day, but we haven't set a goal. We haven't set a clear goal. We know we want to progress. We know we want to build. We know we want to expand. Every day we want to, get those little wins, but we haven't set a goal for a while. And then when we do, it kind of aligns the focus and lets us almost forget about the things that aren't important, aren't a priority, and focus on the things that are going to get us there faster. So I think goal setting is a very typical thing to say, but it's still so powerful.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're not doing it, you should start to think about, well, what is a good goal for me, and how can I achieve it? What's the fastest route there? And let's go. Let's get after it.
Brilliant. Right. Okay. So you've asked the question. I'm going to ask him that straight after the break, but it's to do with Liverpool and Everton. So I'm going to ask you that question straight after the break on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
This is the halftime show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
You see him laughing in the background. I knew that would go down well
That's
with him.
where he runs off like that. I know that one well, yeah. Gerard, favourite player.
If you're wondering who's in the studio today, the man himself, Sean Clancy, is here from KO8. Next time we'd love to get Kieran in as well and get them both in as a duo. Yes. That would be really cool.
Yes.
In the studio. Thank you very much for everyone who is tuned in on the Instagram Live at Omar Duri, and also on Pulse 95 Radio, the YouTube channel. Guys, if you do like the content, make sure you share it, like and subscribe. We got some fantastic guests on here that really cover some important topics, from mental health to the way the brain influences the body, to gut health. There's so many cool things on here, and it's thanks to these guys who come on the show. Right, Sean, a couple of questions from our very own Isa, or as he likes to call himself, Mona Isa. He asked Everton, he said, would you go for Mane or Salah as your first pick? It's a good question.
God, it's a very, very difficult question. For goals, it's Salah, but I just really love to watch Sané when his athleticism just bullies defenders.
Yeah.
I just get a kick out of it when he's just that strong and fast.
Yeah,
it's exciting to watch.
Do you think one of them will leave this year, especially if you don't qualify for Europe? And we know the financial strains that Liverpool have been suffering, which is very surprising from the Fenway Group. Do you think that Liverpool might have to sell one of them?
I'm hoping it never reaches that. We've spent many years being a selling club, and we lose top players like Xabi Alonso and Mascherano to Suarez to the Spanish giants, and then even before that the likes of Michael Owen. We seem to have lost our best rather than keep them at Anfield. But hopefully times will change. We're winning the league, winning the European Cup, Champions League. So hopefully we become that team that retains our quality and then attracts more.
Is the title race over?
For us, yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately. Pains me to say.
Interesting. Anna Schofield, shout out to Anna Schofield, who's tuned in, and she goes, actually, guest 3 mic is mine. Back off, Mr. Football. She normally sits there. She hosts her own show with Big Hass every day of the week, 5 days. So she's getting quite protective over that microphone.
Yeah, I won't touch it anymore.
And then Hisa said, mashallah, why did you retire fit? So I'm guessing he's giving you a compliment over there. Shout out to Ajay as well, Regal and Michelle. Okay, a couple of things we covered today, which was really interesting. We covered prevention, we covered mobility, functional movement, the KO8, the benefits of the KO8. There was a lot of things that you said there. Now, when you design programs, Sean, because I know a lot of people, and you guys do a lot of good stuff online, and I've actually subscribed to that as well. Yes, I have.
Nice, thank you.
I do my homework. When it comes to that, how do you put your programs together normally?
We have an app called KO8 On Demand. So if you have a KO8 at home and you're looking for some inspiration, we have tons of amazing free material on YouTube and Instagram. But the KO8 On Demand is our premium level. So it's very, very high quality stuff from a number of different international coaches. And that goes from strength to HIIT to yoga, meditation, Pilates, and anything in there that's going to benefit the body. But sometimes people get that almost that Netflix effect, you know, where there's that much to look at and you're like, and you spend half an hour choosing a movie that you don't even choose a movie. So what we've created within our app is the 30-day challenge.
Right.
So it basically gives you that split of a strength day, a HIIT day, a recovery day. It takes people from day 1 to day 30. And as I say, it's a really nice way of not having to think. I think people hate having to decide what to do.
Yep.
They just want to do it. Just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I will do it. People don't want to have to, shall I do this? Shall I do that?
Yeah.
And some people don't know what to do either. A lot of our KO8 customers are literally just, moms at home. Yeah. They don't know what to do. So they prefer to follow an experienced coach that will do because what we do is we don't just give you a PDF plan, do 10 of these, do 20 of these. Our coaches do the session with you, so they're getting a sweat on. You can see those guys out of breath. They're giving you the coaching points almost in real time. And you can download that. You don't have to stream. You can download the workouts, take it to the park, go into your back garden, take it anywhere, and you can follow the plan. So we programmed and we've taken away all of the guesswork.
Fantastic. Speaking of following, how can our listeners follow you and KO8? What are your social media handles?
Okay, we are KO8_fitness. So that's K for kilo, O for Oscar, and then the numerical 8. So KO8_fitness is our main page, which is all about the product, KO8 On Demand, free content, free workouts. And then we have KO8_Dubai if you want to check out our facility, our Dubai-based facility. So there's our 2 Instagram. But you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube, KO8 Fitness, and you'll be able to find us that way.
Fantastic. And that is another one. And absolutely. And it was unbelievable, Chris, and I was so happy that you came here. Hey, listen, Sean, thank you very much for taking the time, man.
Thank you. I've got a little gift, actually, for bringing us on. Yeah, a bit of KO8 merch. That's for you, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm going to take that from you in a second. Thank you guys very, very much. And thank you, Sean. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, you can catch our shows every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95. Peace out, guys.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.